Isn't everyone a little bipolar? I mean, we all have ups and downs, so why put a label on it? I know, that sounds absolutely f***ing ridiculous to someone living with bipolar disorder, but to much of the general population, it comes down to semantics, or the meaning of the word in today's culture. If you look up bipolar in a dictionary, you'll see that it has two very distinct definitions. Number one is having or relating to two poles or extremities. Number two is, of course, a psychiatric illness characterized by both manic and depressive episodes. Well, there's actually a third definition you won't find in standard dictionaries, a definition so harmful and overused that it's causing the illness to be misunderstood. This would be using bipolar as slang to describe something or someone who is unpredictable. It's become common for people to say things like, the weather is bipolar, or Karen is all moody and bipolar today. My neighbor once said his lawnmower was acting bipolar because it doesn't start half the time. I know he didn't say this to offend or hurt me. It had a completely different meaning to him, and that's part of the problem. The reason why bipolar disorder and moodiness have become synonymous is because of society's limited understanding of the illness. To grossly simplify, bipolar does make us moody. We go up and we go down. That's about the extent of most people's knowledge. Well, surprise, surprise, 100% of people are moody. That's life. It would be super weird for you not to experience moods. We all have ups and downs, sometimes big ones. Experiencing the gamut of human emotions is what makes us human. However, around 3% of the US population will be diagnosed with a serious, life-threatening brain illness, one that reduces their lifespan by 7 to 10 years. An illness that costs the United States over $200 billion a year in lost productivity and unemployment. An illness so deadly that 1 in 5 don't survive it, and most people end up hospitalized. So yeah, moody people are starkly different from the 3% of people who experience bipolar mood swings. Moody is like stubbing your toe. It's a painful inconvenience. A mood disorder is like breaking your leg and not being able to walk at all. It's all about functionality. I can function with a stubbed toe, but I can't with a broken leg. I get why some people equate bipolar disorder to just being moody. I really do. After all, it is a mood disorder characterized by highs and lows. Unless someone has it or intimately knows someone who does, there's no sense of urgency to learn about it. We go by what our peers tell us. If our peers are telling us that unpredictable weather and lawnmowers can be bipolar, it starts to stick. One last analogy. We all eat food. It's part of being alive. Can you imagine if people started saying, everyone is a little diabetic? We all start calling them sweet bloods and assume it's all their fault for having symptoms. We tell them to suck it up and call them attention seekers when they are in diabetic shock. I know that sounds horrible, but that's exactly what's happening in the mental health community. It cuts so deeply to have our feelings minimized. When we have a serious brain illness and people treat us like it's just a stubbed toe, it hurts. It's frustrating, but we have to remember that people can't see the illness. It's invisible. If my brain was in a wheelchair, it would be different. People can only go on the limited information they have. If they have no idea I have bipolar, I don't berate them for making a comment about unpredictable weather. I use it as a golden opportunity to educate them. If I get upset and chew their ass out, it will just perpetuate the stigmas that people have about us. In all reality, I am an ambassador for the illness. It's important that I set a good example for the rest of us. The last part I want to address is, why put a label on it? I know, it feels like there's a disorder for everything nowadays, but hear me out. Let's say you have crippling allergies and have no idea what's causing them. After many doctor's appointments, they finally tell you exactly what type of allergies you have. Bipolar is like having emotional allergies. When my doctor said I have bipolar, it was like saying I have allergies. Once they figured out it was type 1 bipolar, it was like them saying I'm allergic to peanuts and shellfish. Having a label gave me the starting point I needed to formulate a plan. I think that covers everything in the video's title, so now for a few closing thoughts. It's interesting to note that the word bipolar was first used to describe two opposing poles. It wasn't until 1957 that it was used to describe the mental illness as we know it today. Before that, bipolar was known as manic depression, and it's nothing new. Earliest mentions of the illness in medical literature date back to Hippocrates, around 460 BC. Bipolar isn't some recent invention of psychiatry or a big pharma conspiracy. It's an ancient genetic illness. Semantics and slang play big roles in the way we use language. Although it is semantically correct to use the word bipolar as an adjective, it can still be harmful. Take the example of my neighbor's broken lawnmower. If we use the word bipolar to describe something broken, we're implying that people with bipolar are broken. Yes, we use human qualities to describe inanimate objects, but I think diagnostic terms are where we should draw the line. I'm sure some of you watching this are thinking, cancel culture and outrage culture strikes again. I assure you, I'm not grasping at straws or on a hunt to find things that piss me off. Bipolar is a homonym, which means a word that has different meanings. I get the clever slang behind using it to describe the weather. Slang makes language fun. But when it starts shaming and marginalizing people who might otherwise seek help, that's a serious problem. To end the video on a positive note, we are seeing the word bipolar translate across many different languages and cultures now. People who never had a word to describe their struggles are coming together in solidarity. When I was a kid, no one knew what bipolar was, and now people are using it as casual slang. That's far from ideal, but at least the word is on people's tongues. I believe educating the public will change the whole narrative going forward, but we need more free resources like this YouTube channel to do it. If you want to call or message me, access exclusive content, participate in live support groups, and help me reach more people, Patreon is where it's at. There's a link in the video description where you can become a paid or free member. Please, please check it out. Take extra good care of yourselves, and I'll be back here soon with more Polar Warrior videos. Stay well.